It's Friday, and you know what that means. It's time for a special Friday edition of the Greg Cherry Show, alongside of Josh Mansfield, who was a guest last week. It's Greg Cherry, and we have quite a bit to talk about as far as football goes. Maybe not necessarily about wrestling because it's been a little bit of a down week. Um, I know we're going into winter is coming with AEW and going into the day one event with WWE, but there's a lot going on in football, especially this weekend. Conference championships in college football. Steelers play the Ravens. Do the Browns? Who do the Browns play this week?
That's a very good question. I actually don't remember who we play.
I'll be able to tell you here in just a second.
That's on me.
It's perfectly fine. I didn't set you up for that whatsoever. So the Steelers play the Ravens. I'm not looking forward to that because it's going to be a game much like the game was against San Diego, where a lot of the defense is out. It's just not the Steelers here.
Neither of us had a good week last week. Neither of us did.
Yeah, so I think we're pretty safe on our bet.
Yeah, we are. We are.
Yeah.
And I forgot to set my fantasy lineup last night, and I should have because the Cowboys were playing. And I have Zeke.
I did that too. I didn't realize it. Fortunately, nobody in my starting lineup was playing. The Browns are actually on bye, it looks like. So.
Oh, that's right. We are on bye.
Yeah.
Whew. We get a break.
So that's why you didn't know who you were playing, because you're not playing. But there you go.
I love Baker, but can we please bench him, even though the front office doesn't want to?
Yeah, it's a rough. It's just a confusing season for the AFC North, honestly. But before we delve too far into this, Brett Storm, being the wonderful human being that he is, has graciously donated to the channel. Thank you, Brett. And you guys can do it too at the Streamlabs link. It should be in everywhere that this is airing right now. And if you need it again, tell me if you would like to donate to the show and get a wheel spin of your own. But Brett is going to get one. I'm hoping it's not push-ups. Like the other exercises on here, I'd be fine doing, but push-ups suck. It's my own fault for putting them on the wheel.
Hey, if it lands on karaoke, I will take that for you.
There you go. Ooh, there's new stuff. But yeah, karaoke's on there. We got entrance as usual. We got macho time. I'm waiting for it to land on 100 jumping jacks at one point. That's gonna suck. But honestly, it might be better than freaking 20 push-ups, but we'll see. All right, Brett, your spin is up. Let's see what is going to happen. You called it. You called it.
Whoa! Great.
All right, Josh is going to sing you a song. I appreciate that.
Oh, boy. You can make it easy on me. Have me do The Undertaker's Druid theme.
I mean, if you want to, the thing with karaoke is, yeah, the thing with karaoke is the person doesn't get to pick the song because it's like if you don't know the song, you're obviously not going to be very good at it. So
right,
sing whatever you want.
Oh wait, so we get to pick it, or does Brett get to pick it?
No, you get to pick.
Okay.
Because, like I said, like if you don't know the song, you can't do it any justice. So
I gotta get to it real quick. So what else do we have in the lineup for tonight, Greg?
I think we're just gonna have a fun night. We're just gonna BS. And if people send in
laws today,
yeah, no weird laws. I like because it's Weird Law Wednesday. We can't do Weird Law Friday. It just doesn't flow. So this is going to be an episode where basically you guys are going to dictate the conversation. And if you want to throw in chaos by throwing in some wheel spins, please go do so, because I know you guys love to see it, especially when we're acting goofy and all that stuff and, making me work out. I'm glad it wasn't push-ups. I don't mind doing the other stuff. 20 squats. I need to build my legs back up. Just let me know when you're ready there, Josh.
Domine sustinentibus te, ut profete tui fideles inveni antor, exaudi preces famili tui, et populi tui Israel. Letatus suminisque dicta sunt mihi in domum Domini imus. Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto, sicut erat in principio, et nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum. Amen. Da pacem Domine sustinentibus te, et profete tui fideles inveni. And I'm struggling with this chant again, so that's
you did it justice. That was I'm clapping for that. That was good. That was impressive.
It's been a while since I've listened to the chant, because the Druid's theme is actually sung in the Latin Mass as the introit, the opening chant for the, I want to say, 16th or 17th Sunday after Pentecost. In the traditional Latin Mass, it falls during September. So if you go to a Latin Mass, one of the Sundays during that month, you'll hear this.
There you go. I mean, they probably had to get like a song like that to just play behind the Undertakers. And Brett said that while you were singing the Druid theme, he has 2K19 on in the background. The Undertaker's music started playing, so that was that was kind of eerie timing.
Oh,
but very fitting.
Perfect.
So yeah, I'm glad I have you on because I know you follow college football, correct?
Like, to a point, I follow my teams.
Yeah,
and we both got some. This week was rough for us, for darn sure.
Professionally, yes. Collegiately, it was interesting.
For you, it was interesting. Me, it sucked.
Yeah.
As an Ohio State fan.
I'm sorry about that.
It sucked.
Because obviously, being a Notre Dame fan, no love lost for Michigan. That team up north, I know.
And no love lost for Ohio State either.
Yeah. It's very tough there.
They got a win. Congratulations. Took you a decade to do it, but.
Yeah, and as it sits right now, Michigan is third in the playoff. But I feel like this needs to be a chaotic weekend. I was listening to somebody and saying, can a 2-loss Alabama get into the playoff? And I'm thinking to myself, no. If Georgia slaughters Alabama, the Crimson Tide have no place in the playoff. Considering
Screw Roll Tide.
Yeah, considering that it took them damn near the entire 60 minutes to score one touchdown on Auburn. Auburn's not that great this year.
Yeah.
And Alabama was down in that game for almost the entire thing. They won in quadruple overtime, which is an absurd thing to think about. And there's a number of, you have them at, I guess Michigan's second and Alabama's third, but you have them as the number 3 team in the nation after they escape a 7-5 team. Granted, Notre Dame in the first half of the season probably should have lost all of their games. Second half, they turned it around, fortunately. But yeah, Ohio State losing to Michigan, that was a rough one for any chance of the playoffs for Ohio State, because
Mm-hmm.
as a
I,
two
I
loss,
will thing I will say is, I think I know what you Squealer fans feel like when the Browns occasionally beat you.
we have a win against you this year there. So
Yeah, I'm aware. See, I love my Browns, always will, but hopefully for Christmas I'm gonna be. I still have my Baker jersey. Um, Still gonna wear it, I think, but I'm hoping to add a Miles Garrett one, I think, for Christmas this year and wear that a little more often.
watch your head. Um, so the Steelers and the Browns are both sitting at 500 because the Steelers have that illustrious tie against the winless Detroit Lions. And it's games like that that's like, okay, we're not winning the Super Bowl this year. It's not going to happen.
I think
Just
I don't even know if Browns are going to make the playoffs at this point. Like
I,
that,
I
I
you
stopped
got
watching the game on Sunday. I had stopped watching at one point. Then we scored again, and I was because I have a group chat of Browns friends. And I
yeah.
was like, "Do I just need to stop watching so we win?" They're like, "Yes." Didn't
Well,
help.
fortunately for
And yes,
me,
we got the Cleaver here with us, and yes, Colin, that was a kick in the nuts to OSU on Saturday. Yes, it was.
yeah, we'll get into more college. I want to get the NFL out of the way first, and then we'll talk to collegiately, because collegiately it was a
You
completely.
have a lot of stuff to go through. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have a lot of stuff to go through for college, but fortunately, I did not watch the Steelers game, and if I was going to miss any game this season, I'm glad it was this one, because Cincinnati handed the Steelers their ass on a plate, and it
And
was.
which is ironic when you think the Browns handed the Bengals their ass on a plate. What the heck is the AFC North this season?
I don't know,
Like,
and the Steelers have 2 games against the Ravens left. Like, we
what the
have
heck
not
is
played
the NFL
September, and
this
we
season?
haven't
Let's
played
be
Baltimore
real.
yet, and we play them twice. It's like, and we play the Browns again later on. It's like, oh my gosh.
What the heck is the NFL this season?
The NFL is complete. I don't know. I think 2020 screwed everything up. It's like, just spin the wheel, and that's who's gonna win this week, because there is no semblance of consistency in the NFL.
I have to kind of laugh at how the Rams have been doing since getting OBJ. I kind of have to laugh at that. Just because I don't care for OBJ. So,
and that's been made clear a few times that you don't. Brett, we're just gonna wing it the entire show. Who did Goldust defeat to win his second Intercontinental Championship? I know Razor was the first one. His second one, I feel like he didn't win it to like 90.
I don't know the answer to this one. But while we're on the topic of trivia, while you're thinking,
Road Dog, but I don't know if that's right.
Maybe I honestly don't. No, but while we are on the topic of trivia, a quick shout out to our Jack of all trades competitor and Greg Cherry Show friend, Andy Dadson, who's he has COVID, so big shout out to him, and hope you get better, brother. We're rooting for you, man.
Absolutely. Andy Dadson, for the first ever Jack of all trades champion, first ever Quizlemania champion, wonderful person, wonderful to talk to. Hope he gets well.
Savio Vega is the answer.
Oh, I forgot about the vacation. Okay. I was thinking, when I said Road Dog, I was like, I feel like that's too late. Like, I feel like that was his third, because I know he's a 3-time Intercontinental champion. I was like, I don't think he won it again in 99, but I remember, like, I think he lost it to Godfather shortly after
he
won it.
See, you're gonna laugh at this, and this goes back to a little bit earlier. The only Goldust Intercontinental title match I remember about is the one where he actually defended against The Undertaker.
Oh, Beware of Dog or Beware of Dog 2, depending on which one you saw.
Because it's like Undertaker challenging for a mid-card title? What is this?
Part of me wanted him to win it. Here's a funny thing.
Undertaker's my GOAT. He's number one on my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Which that was interesting seeing Undertaker's new Mount Rushmore come out this week. That he took Flair off, which I wouldn't be surprised has to do with all the Flair controversy lately.
Yeah, that was probably a PR thing. I figure he still works as like an ambassador in some capacity to WWE.
Oh, Taker, absolutely.
Yeah.
He was at one of the NFL games a couple weeks ago, I think. He was at a Cowboys game.
Yeah,
to get ready for Mania.
Yeah, he's a Cowboys fan, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah. I knew. I'm so frustrated with that one that I forgot that 96 is like a weird period. Like a lot of stuff happened because I know he lost the title. I'm guessing his second reign to Ahmed Johnson. And then Ahmed had that fantastic reign that ended. Yeah, the new generation era. I need to study up on that. It's such a point of like, I remember watching a lot of new generation stuff, but I was watching some WCW stuff back then too. I was like,
right. See, I'm mostly good with things like late 2009, early 2010 when I started watching. Like that's when starting from then's where I'm good at guessing stuff.
Yeah, Ruthless Aggression is where a lot of my stuff is. It's like I'm pretty solid in Ruthless Aggression. I figured I don't remember if it was King of the Ring where he lost to I feel like it might have been King of the Ring or shortly after.
Speaking of King of the Ring real quick, I have to wonder because Xavier Woods lost his crown and everything from King of the Ring when Roman smashed and everything. Part of me wonders if that might have been a little bit of retribution punishment for the story that came out about how Xavier Woods doesn't make hardly any money from up, up, down, down.
I don't think those things are related. I don't.
The thought crossed my mind. I wasn't sure. The thought just crossed my mind for a minute. Like,
I feel like
would it
Woods.
Surprise me if WWE did something like that? No, it's WWE. No. But would Vince actually be looking at that and caring? No. Nick Khan, maybe. But Nick Khan can go shove as far as I'm concerned, but that's neither here nor there.
Regardless, I feel like Austin Creed, Xavier Woods has a good enough position in the company that he's pretty set. Like
New Day as a whole, each of them separately and as a whole are untouchable.
Yeah, New Day is solid. I mean, Woods is probably honestly having the best singles run of his career because Kofi's out with an injury, I believe.
Yes.
And Biggie's on Raw as the WWE champion. So I'm hoping, I would love to see like a Roman King Woods match at the Rumble. And I might be crazy for saying this. If that match doesn't happen at the Rumble, I'd be fine with Woods winning the Rumble and beating Roman at WrestleMania.
That's if we don't get Rock.
If we don't get Rock.
I don't know if Woods would be.
I would love it.
I don't want Drew.
He almost had him beat until the Usos interfered on SmackDown. Well,
of course.
So.
See, I don't. It needs to be someone believable to be able to beat Roman. Drew could, but they've already done Drew versus Roman at Survivor Series last year.
Yeah, they don't need to. They don't need to run that back at Mania.
No. Jeff, I would say Jeff Hardy at the Rumble.
It might be Jeff at the Rumble.
Just after the Stone
He almost won the Battle Royal, so you have to wonder when the Sami Zayn match is going to happen. Or if the Sami Zayn match is going to happen.
Isn't that supposed to be at day one?
I don't know. I don't think they announced that match specifically. They announced the WWE title match, the triple threat with Big E, Rollins, and Kevin Owens, but I don't think they've announced a whole lot else for that show.
No, they've only announced the triple threat WWE title match.
Yep.
You are correct. Just went to check. Yeah, that Sami Zayn. Why?
I mean, if he gives a good match against Roman, we'll see. But I feel like it could be one of those things where they have Brock take him out and then Brock faces Roman again and Sami Zayn claims conspiracy again or something to that effect. I don't know.
And then Brock Lesnar can just destroy Sami Zayn.
Yeah. Which I hate. I hate bait and switch matches. Like, if somebody earned a match, just let it happen. Like,
yeah.
Because then you make the entire battle royal meaningless. And please don't make battle royals meaningless. I like those.
You know, and if Jeff was here, he'd get a very good kick out of this. I remember, I think it was last year, when the whole Roman versus Adam Pearce was going to be a thing, and then they switched it to Owens again. Mm-hmm. Like, I was really looking forward to it being Adam Pearce, but Adam has said he has absolutely zero interest whatsoever of getting back in the ring. Or getting in the ring, period, in WWE.
Yeah. I mean, technically, he has a match win in WWE in that gauntlet, so I don't know. I would have liked to see just how Adam Pearce would have done, because I know he's not like WWE style, but it's still fun.
Which is, I'm honestly annoyed with the new NXT 2.0 about it, because they're trying to make it more main roster WWE style instead of the mix of styles NXT Black and Gold was known for.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know Triple H is taking care of that new NIL thing for collegiate athletes, so maybe he'll have some influence on that. May not necessarily be the influence he had with NXT with bringing in all those names initially, but we'll see.
I think once Triple H himself gets back to NXT, we'll see a shift back to some more, I guess, normalcy is the word I want to use. Because I hate how they did this all in Triple H's absence.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that's just a kick in the dick. I trust Shawn Michaels to run it, which Shawn's been the one really running it. But he's doing it with Vince and Kevin Dunn over his shoulder.
Yeah. Well, I brought up the collegiate athlete thing for WWE. Transitioning back to collegiate athletics. See what I did there? Transition. So Ohio State, unfortunately, they're 7th right now in the playoffs. So I think they need an incredible amount of stuff to help. I do want to say we did get another donation from Self-Willed Soul. Appreciate that very much. He says, what a WTC match yesterday. It seems each tournament gets more and more competitive. Really love all that you have done with the WTC brand. Maybe do a special tag team trivia tournament where you and a partner alternate on which question you answer. I mean, that may happen. I mean, we've expanded.
I would enjoy that.
Yeah, we've expanded. The toughest part about a tag team trivia match, in my opinion, would be coordinating schedules, because that's a hard part about Jack of all trades. Like, there's always 4 people on there, plus me, obviously, hosting the show, and coordinating that is going to be a little tough. So if I did something like that, I probably wouldn't make it a massive tournament, but it'd be something to do for like a fun thing. I don't know if I would want to go for a full division, but I definitely want to get some like intrigue as far.
I can say I'd be interested. I mean, in the first Jack of all trades, the only Jack of all trades one that I've done, at the very end of our match, you had us team up together in 19 with Andy Dadson and helped him win that round to go on to the.
You helped him win the game, really.
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go. You can say, without you, Andy Dadson would never be Jack of all trades champion.
You're welcome, Andy.
All right, so that means Self-Willed Soul gets himself a spin on the wheel. So we're going to bring that back up. and hopefully.
I'm hoping I don't have to do karaoke again.
Well, if it comes up karaoke again, I'll do something. But not the push-ups. That's what I'm hoping for. Here we go. What happened?
I do not apologize for helping him win, Brett.
To tell the truth, so Self-Willed Soul, you get to ask me any question. Like it doesn't have to be wrestling related. It doesn't have to be sports related. It doesn't have to be related to anything, and I have to be honest. So it's basically like a truth or dare thing, but I took that off the wheel because I was too chicken shit to do dares. So, so anything you want to ask me, and I answer it. Adrian, how you doing? Good to see you.
And the fact of just thinking of all the things these people could have you do for dares, that was a good idea.
Yeah, it really was, because it's like, man, they'd be like, hey, shave your head. It'd be like, okay, if I want my wife to kill me, then sure, I'll do that. My wife's a cosmetologist, and I would butcher my own head. So that is it's not a great thing to do for views if there's no payoff. But back to collegiate athletics while we wait for the question. Brett said somebody could dare you to do Molina splits.
Dear God, no.
It's a good thing I have insurance then. Back to collegiate athletics. Notre Dame went 11-1, which honestly surprised me the way the season started. And they are right now sitting at the 6th spot. So they also need some help to get into the playoffs, to get into that top 4.
There's a big shakeup with Notre Dame.
There is. And, yeah, I'm going to get to that in just a second. So Georgia and Alabama play each other tomorrow. My pastor's actually a big Georgia fan, so he's going to be coming over for the game. I'm rooting for the Bulldogs in that one, because if Alabama wins, then pretty much nothing else matters. And Alabama and Georgia are both in the playoffs and basically screw off to whoever is under the top 4. So Bama, if they lose, they're out. There's no way they're staying in the playoffs if that's the case. Oklahoma State would probably have to lose, which I feel like it's more of a likelihood than Michigan losing to Iowa. And since we're on the topic, Self-Willed Soul says, who are your favorite non-Pittsburgh-based teams, all major sports? Well, Steelers and the Penguins are my Pittsburgh-based teams. My non-Pittsburgh-based team, New York Yankees for baseball, and Fighting Irish and Notre Dame, who are in South Bend, Indiana. I don't really follow basketball, so I don't really have a team there. Pittsburgh obviously doesn't have a team. I think my dad used to root for the Knicks, the New York Knicks. I tried to get into basketball. I even played it a little bit in school, but I just had no interest.
I was only into it when we had LeBron, really.
Well, I mean, that makes sense, because then, Cleveland was able to win a championship. So
who was your
it makes sense.
favorite non-Pittsburgh NFL team?
Favorite non-Pittsburgh NFL team? It was probably because they beat the Patriots twice in the Super Bowl. I like the New York Giants for a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I was like, Steelers are my AFC team, so I kind of have to. I kind of have to go to like an NFC team. It's like, who is like doesn't really conflict with the Steelers that I could get behind, and it's like, the New York Giants. They suck now. They haven't really been good since that second Super Bowl win.
I mean, personally, for me, is I'm the Ohio boy here, so Browns are my number one, obviously, but I gotta go the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
Because their owners, the DeBartolos, are from Youngstown.
Okay.
And they go to my parish. They go to my church. So I kind of got to root for the home church team. And then I really like the Buffalo Bills.
I don't have a problem with the Bills. Steelers played them earlier this season. They got their first win of the season. I've never really had a long-standing issue with the Bills. Not until they do something to deserve it. So I have no problem with the Bills. As far as other like AFC teams, I never really thought about it because it's like they're all kind of competition. I like
That's fair.
the
I mean,
Chiefs. Like I like the Kansas City Chiefs. Like I don't
yeah,
have
when
an
they're
issue with
not,
them
I
either.
like them when they're not facing us.
Well, yeah, I mean if
Because
they're
we should
facing,
have won that game.
you know what?
Browns should have
As
won that
a
game this year.
Steelers fan watching that Kansas City and Cleveland playoff game, you guys got screwed. You guys got so
But
screwed.
the playoff game and then the first game this season, yeah, we got screwed both those games.
I didn't really watch. I didn't really watch that game. I watched the playoff game. I didn't watch the regular.
Yeah, that playoff game was rough to watch. NFC, because NFC wise, I like the Saints just because, the Catholic here got her for the Saints.
Is
Same-
Ian Book
same with
still
the
there? Because I
Cardinals.
haven't seen him play at all.
Same with the Cardinals. What'd you say?
Is Ian Book still with the Saints? Because I have not seen him like.
I
at
don't
all.
know.
He might be like third string or something, which is like, geez. He was a guy who beat number 1 Clemson last year, and now he's sitting third string on the bench. Okay. Just me. But there you go, Self-Old Soul. Hope that answered your question. Yeah, I'm not a complete Pittsburgh homer. I mean, my favorite women's wrestlers from Boston, which, if you know me, is a big deal. And my favorite male wrestler of all time is from Texas. I like.
I'm trying to figure them out. Trying to figure out those.
If you've watched my channel long enough, you should know who my favorite women's wrestler is.
Why am I blanking on it? It's Sasha, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was Sasha. I want to say Britt Baker at first, but I'm like, no, she's Pittsburgh.
No, Britt Baker's from Pittsburgh. Britt's my second. Don't get me wrong. I love me some Pittsburgh.
And you're Stone Cold guy, I'm guessing. Who's the Texas one? Okay, my mind is just blanking. Oh, Sean. What? Yeah, I knew that. Why did I think?
Yeah, HBK. Don't get me wrong. Love Britt Baker. I love Kurt Angle. Both Pittsburghers. But my favorite wrestler of all time, Shawn Michaels. Favorite women's wrestler, Sasha Banks.
Hey, I catch flack because I like my Ohio guy, Miz. I catch flack for that, so.
I mean, Ziggler's an Ohio guy, too. He went to Kent State.
He is. I mean, the Raw I went to after the Rumble, after the 2014 Rumble, when everyone turned on Batista, Punk walked out and everything.
Oh, I was at the Rumble in Pittsburgh, so yeah, I get it.
Yeah. See, I remember, I said this before on other times. I was on other things, but I remember being there, Batista coming out, me cheering at the top of my lungs, and him just getting booed out of the building. I'm thinking, what is going on? What did I miss?
It's because Daniel Bryan didn't win the Royal Rumble, or was even in the Royal Rumble.
I wasn't into all the indie stuff back then, so I didn't care about Daniel winning the Rumble. I wanted Batista to win. So, indie fans, IWC, forgive me, mea culpa. But they did like a Battle of Cleveland match between Ziggler and Miz on that Raw, I'm pretty sure.
That makes sense. But yeah, as far as Notre Dame goes, so Brian Kelly announced, or I guess the university announced on Monday that Brian Kelly was going to LSU of all teams, which was a complete shock to everybody involved.
Mid-season, close to the playoffs.
Yeah, like right after their 11-1 season. It's like, dude, you still have a shot at the playoffs. What are you doing? Like, I don't think LSU's like anywhere close. Like, I don't even know if they're probably bowl eligible. They're not that bad. LSU.
His text message to the team leaked, and it's like, dude.
LSU is just barely bowl eligible. They're 6-6. Like, Kelly, what are you doing?
I've heard. I think I sent you the link about how He's got like a 10-year, $95 million contract.
I mean, they want success in there, but like you're going into the Lions Den, going into the SEC there, man.
Yeah.
Do what you. Hey, listen, if Brian Kelly takes LSU and whoops Alabama every year, I'll still be happy. I'll be perfectly fine with that. But like, okay, like you took Notre Dame from a team that prior to his arrival had not been good in nearly 20 years, like since the Lou Holtz era. So for him to take a team right after the Charlie Weiss years, which my gosh, those were painful years, taking a team from there 3 years later, going to the national championship. Yes, they got stomped by Alabama. Don't remind me. I was watching. I turned to Raw at halftime because I was disgusted with the game.
That's how you know it's bad that's how you know it's bad when you intentionally choose to watch wrestling over football.
Especially Notre Dame. Like Notre Dame, I choose football over wrestling unless it's going really, really poorly. So yeah, I definitely chose football over Raw on that night until, of course, halftime when it was about 35-0. I'm like, yeah, it's like I am not watching them completely get murdered. And it was a shame. It was the same way when they played Clemson a couple years ago, and then they played Alabama in the playoffs last year. It's like, why, Brian Kelly? Why is your team good enough to get to the playoffs? But once you get to the playoffs, you get annihilated. So hopefully Marcus Freeman has a better plan than Brian Kelly did if they make the playoffs. Either that or they're in a New Year's Six Bowl. But at least it's a good start. Hopefully they have a good.
The fact that the entire team has to come in with the new coach this close and like sort of because Marcus Freeman, he's been with the team, right?
Yeah, he just joined the team this year as their defensive coordinator, but the team loves him. So that's a big plus. And
that's
Tommy Rees is staying on. Yeah, Tommy Rees is staying on as offensive coordinator. Not sure who they're going to have as their defensive guy yet, but we'll see. Hopefully,
right. It's a plus, but at the same time, there's a lot of reconfiguration in that they got to figure out in a very, very short amount of time. Yeah. Like this isn't he leaves during after the season's over, and then you have the entire off season to prepare. No, you got a game coming up.
Well, I'm sure all of South Bend is going to be tuning in, rooting for Georgia to whoop on Alabama, and then rooting for either Michigan to drop to Iowa, Oklahoma State to drop to Baylor, or Cincinnati to drop to, I forget who they're facing. Houston, I believe.
I don't even know who we're facing this week.
So it's one of them. I don't think Ohio State's in a championship game. If they would have beat Michigan, they would have been against Iowa, I believe, instead of Michigan.
Yeah, that game was not a fun game to watch.
Yeah, we can both root for a Wolverines loss, and then I'll laugh at Jim Harbaugh. But
both Harbaughs, I'm not a fan of.
Oh week. No, the Harbaughs just completely align with F you guys.
They completely destroyed Ohio. This
past
weekend,
yeah.
Like for me, and it was interesting. Like the game, and then this is a little. On Tuesday, the new Bishop of Brooklyn was installed, who was the formerly Bishop of Columbus. Yeah. It's happened a few days after the Ohio State game, and the Apostolic Nuncio, the representative of the Pope, during his speech before Bishop Brennan was installed, mentioned there's tears in Columbus today, not only for you being moved to Brooklyn, but also for the Ohio State game. I'm like, Pierre, you are going to have a lot of angry Catholics in Columbus for that comment. Like, ouch, salt in the wounds.
Yeah. I watched the tail end of that game, and it's just like they couldn't get their feet going. Like it's so weird to me. Like that was
their defense was so good. I'm trying to remember the one guy's name of their defensive player.
Because here's what was weird about it to me. Michigan State beat Michigan earlier this season.
Right.
Then Ohio State went and slaughtered Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
Like just absolutely wiped the floor with them. And then Michigan, the team that lost to the team that Ohio State slaughtered, beats Ohio State. It's like, Big Ten, what is, like, are you drunk, Big Ten? Like, what is happening? Like, how do you have like that cyclical of a thing happen? It's just so weird. And I guess it feels like very much a what have you done for me lately? Like, yeah, Michigan beat Ohio State by a couple scores. Michigan State upset Michigan by probably less than a touchdown, but then Ohio State beat Michigan State by like, what, 40, 50 points? That game wasn't even close.
Right. So what I'm going to say, and as an Ohio guy, this pains me to say it, but I will give credit where credit is due to the Michigan guy. Hutchinson could very easily be the next Myles Garrett.
I mean, we'll see where he lands.
I give him,
if anywhere.
He was so good in that game. Like what defense did we have against him? He was so good. And it's like, I'll give you credit where credit's due, and I think he could very easily be the next Myles Garrett.
Well, again, we'll see if that happens. Self-Willed Soul posted something that said, Fun Fact Friday, H. Roe Bartle, a former national president of my fraternity, Alpha Phi Omega, and mayor of Kansas City, was nicknamed Chief. They named the Chiefs after him when they moved to Kansas City in 1963. That's pretty cool. I mean, I know we were talking about the Chiefs earlier, so there you go. That's a pretty cool fact there. But yes, as I mentioned, since Brian Kelly left for LSU, earlier today, Marcus Freeman, the defensive coordinator, was promoted to head coach, and the team just loves him. So I'm hoping for the chips to fall that Notre Dame gets in the playoff, and we can see how a Marcus Freeman led team does, because they have the talent to do it. But it's going to be a different mindset than when Brian Kelly led the team, because Kelly led the team to 11-1. I have to give him that. And maybe it was the coordinators, maybe it was Reese, and maybe it was Freeman who really led them to that. That being said, can this Notre Dame team, if they make the playoffs, because the hope is still there, it's slim, but the hope is still there, can they make a run, and can this be a national championship team? I'm hoping yes. I'm biased, I know. But
we're both biased towards the teams we love.
Yeah, Notre Dame did all they can. Like their only loss was to Cincinnati, who's already in the playoff. And honestly, that was Notre Dame's sloppiest game. If they cleaned up their stuff from earlier in that season, and they can face Cincinnati again, I think it's a different story. Just my opinion.
Let's just be glad only two of our teams are that, we just have Browns and Steelers games this year to worry about against each other, and we don't have an OSU versus Notre Dame game against each other. Or
no, that just picks up next season.
What?
Next season's opener is Ohio State Notre Dame.
Oh, good Lord, we're gonna have fun.
And Marcus Freeman is a former Buckeye, so that should be fun. Yeah, they are playing. Hold on. I want to look at Notre Dame's schedule, because I'm pretty sure
last time I rooted for Notre Dame against Ohio State, I think it was in one of the bowl games a number of years ago, and Notre Dame got destroyed.
Yeah, that was a Weiss era game. If that's any. It was either
a
Weiss era or
family was so angry.
It might have been Ty Willingham.
Notre Dame. What was that?
It was either Ty Willingham or Charlie Weiss. I feel like that was Ty Willingham's first season, because they started 8-0. They wore the green jerseys against Boston College and lost. Went 9-3, and then So September 3rd, T. Fame's birthday, Notre Dame at Ohio State.
That'll be an interesting game for sure. Yeah, I root for Notre Dame as well when they don't play Ohio State. Because, the 11th commandment for us Catholics is thou shalt root for Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So
And in addition to that, since my buddy T Fame's birthday is Ohio State, my birthday is Clemson,
Ooh.
which last year the Clemson game happened on my birthday weekend. And that was the game where Notre Dame won in double overtime. And that was probably the greatest college football game I've ever seen. It was so good. Obviously, because Notre Dame won, I have more preference to it. But yeah, that is that is all I have to talk about really sports in general. Because again, the Steelers, there's nothing really to talk about because they're another disappointment.
Same with us right now. Like, we need, like, Case Keenum is good. Our backup quarterback is very good. Play him. If Baker has so many injuries, sit him, please. Just give Keenum a chance. Like, I love Baker, I do, but his head's out of it. It really is. Like, I don't know what Stefanski's thinking. Like, I trust Stefanski. I trust, our GM and everything, but it's like, come on, guys, think.
I'm really surprised they had him play the game against the Steelers after it was either a concussion or I don't know what it was. It's like, I don't know why you would put an injured quarterback in there if you think, like, they must not have faith in Case Keenum if they're.
And I don't get why. He's good. He's proved himself. He won us a game when he was quarterback for an entire game when Baker was out before because of injury this season.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I mean,
I don't get it, but speaking of games I will always remember, playoffs last year, our first playoff game.
Yeah, I know.
I had to. I wasn't watching the beginning part. I was on a meeting call, and I keep getting texts and messages like, touchdown, interception.
Yeah, that was probably the one positive about that game is that's when I became friends with Daisy. That's the one positive about that game because I saw her tweeting about it, and I don't know if it was somebody else I followed. I saw her tweeting about it, and like we bonded over that game, and that developed into a friendship. So that was pretty cool.
I think the thing I will always remember that is me snapping a picture of the TV at the end of the game with Ben on the bench just.
Yeah, it was not pretty. For you guys, it was. For us, it was not.
I mean, Ben at the beginning of this season, like, everyone was calling for him to just sit down.
And then Mason Rudolph happened and was like, nah. I don't know why. You were talking about Case Keenum. I don't know why the Steelers don't go with Haskins. I don't understand that at all. Like,
well, of course, we didn't ever go with Rudolph because, Ben refused to train Mason Rudolph whatsoever.
I don't know.
Because Ben has refused to let them draft a quarterback. In how long?
Well, he doesn't have many years left. This is probably his last year. I can't imagine him coming back.
No.
He has nothing else to prove. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. He's not going to have the Peyton Manning send-off. That's just not going to happen. And Peyton was terrible in his last year when he won his Super Bowl because the defense won him that Super Bowl.
He's not going to have the Brady tree. Ben, you are not Brady.
Yeah, Ben is not Brady.
And I'm. It depends on my mood and on the day and who they're playing, whether I root for Brady or not. But Ben, you are not Brady.
But at least Ben Roethlisberger is not Joe Flacco. Thank God for that. People calling Flacco an elite quarterback after he has one winning season with the Ravens. Piss off out here.
I know Christmas will be a very interesting day with the Christmas game, which we have this year.
Oh, you have a Christmas game.
Packers.
Oh, you get the Packers. Have fun with that.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Aaron Rodgers fan.
Oh, we get the Chiefs the day after Christmas. Yay.
Oh, oh boy.
Now we're
Good
gonna
luck with that.
yeah, it's. I think Tomlin's streak of non-losing seasons is over, unless they
I've been
just
hearing people calling for him to be fired.
he probably won't be though, because again, this is his first losing season in 15 years.
Yeah, I know
His
we'll probably
first.
still keep Stefan. I know we'll still keep Stefanski. I don't see us getting rid of him whatsoever.
Well, to be fair, you guys are used to disappointments.
I think we were hoping for better after last season because
you
of
had a really good year last year. I'm not
we
going to take
did.
away.
I think part of it was we let it go to our heads. Some
Possibly.
of us.
I still
think
think you
that
guys
was
could have beat Kansas City, but that's just me.
yeah. I know you guys are having a rough season. Like the NFL the past 2 years has just been a cluster, really.
I blame the Ravens for everything that went wrong. Because them moving the game a week and a half because their players weren't ready, that's still garbage. They got no punishment out of that either. It's like, how can you like?
I mean, Antonio Brown just got fined for his COVID.
Well, he doesn't play for the Ravens. I don't understand how the Baltimore Ravens organization got away with that squeaky clean, and like they're finding random players for COVID protocols. It's like, bitch, that entire team violated COVID protocols. They should have forfeited that game. Steelers won that game anyway, but we lost Bud Dupree in that game. So I'm thinking to myself, the entire rest of the season, the losses that happened where Bud Dupree wasn't there, and Highsmith, I honestly don't think carried enough of the load.
Yeah, it does. Some games, I do think it depends on who is injured, who isn't.
Yeah.
Like our game on Sunday, we lost Jack Conlon for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
and he just got back that game.
As sports are a frustrating thing. All right, guys, we're in the last 7 minutes before SmackDown. So if you want to send any super chats, if you want us to do anything, please do so now. Otherwise, just send in questions that you want answered. We'll take questions about anything, whether it's wrestling, whether it's sports, whether it's anything at all. We'll take questions. I know it's been a little bit of a weird episode. Yeah, it's been a little bit of a weird episode of the Greg Cherry Show because honestly, there was a lot that happened in college sports, and I wanted to talk about it because Notre Dame was in the firestorm of a lot of it with the Kelly leaving for LSU and all that stuff. It's like, give us something non-sports related. We've been talking about that for like an hour.
I was going to say, I will say I actually watched Raw this past Monday. Wow. I have a chance to watch. I really actually enjoyed Raw. I'll be completely honest.
I mean, I guess that's the thing that happens. Like sometimes they have decent episodes.
See, here's the thing, and I will say this. People are mixed reactions over the Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch contract signing, and then the Edge Miz promo for mentioning the releases.
Yeah.
And I will be honest and say, I don't think that's in bad taste. I think that is them echoing the fans' frustration with the whole
people like to think that they're not self-aware when they do that type stuff. Like they try and use it for edgy TV. It's like, oh, I don't understand. Like
someone saying Vince probably told Liv to do that line, maybe, but I mean, how many? I've seen people say a lot of the cuts were due to Nick Khan, not Vince, but I don't know. But Edge, everyone's saying Edge did it on his own.
Yeah, Chris LaBelle is asking, what do you think of the last WTC match between Cass and Case? Last night's episode.
I actually didn't have a chance to watch. I will be completely honest. I am sorry.
Well, I'm going to spoil it for you then. I was not expecting that result, to see Chris Cass get upset by K-Zone. I was not expecting that. Don't get me wrong, K-Zone's a great trivia mind, but I was just with as dominant as Chris Cass has been in the wrestling trivia field as a whole, did not expect it. So that's what my thoughts. And Brett, I'll answer this one first since it's pretty related. What WTC match will be happening next Thursday? Let me look. I don't remember the order that I did them in. I have them all downloaded. I'm just trying to remember when I downloaded them. Unedited. No, not by size. Sort by date. Date. Okay. So the next match coming up should be Professor Harrison and Nico Suave Rigoli. And then after that, Brett, the week after next is you and Steve Mesa. That match will air. The match before Christmas is going to be Brandon Rutledge and Michael Turner. And then the last WTC of the year is going to be Luke Walsh and Jordan Owens. So that is the schedule so far for the remainder of the first round of the tournament. And then Brett also asks, what is your least favorite WrestleMania match of all time?
A least favorite? Oh, I thought it said favorite. Least favorite. Greg, you answer this one first.
Least favorite match. I don't know if I have one that's like definitively that I just can't stand whatsoever. Goldberg Lesnar at 20 was not good at all. The Melina Ashley match was also not good at WrestleMania 23. That one was just a disaster.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler, that was bad.
See, I didn't mind that one because I was into that feud.
It went way too long.
It did, and they shouldn't have had a DQ finish like that. That was stupid.
Yeah.
Like, just have Lawler win and end the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that shouldn't have gone on for that long. A match
should
I
have
would
gone
say
on
that I
3
enjoyed.
pay-per-views long. It definitely should have.
No. One match I would say I did enjoy that I know a lot of people hated just because of the circumstances. WrestleMania 34, Lesnar Reigns. I enjoyed that match.
I like the 31 one better.
That was a good one. I mean,
34, nobody cared for that one. No,
I didn't
nobody
mind
wanted to see them at 34 because it's like, oh, Reigns is going to win. And even though Lesnar won, it was like, it took 6 F5s to get there. It's like, geez, just end it already. Like,
that is true. So real quick before we end, your favorite WrestleMania match that doesn't involve Shane McMahon?
Probably one I was at, Shawn Michaels, or being the special guest referee for Undertaker Triple H and Hell in a Cell.
My one would also be an Undertaker match. Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. 2, Streak versus Career. I think it's better than the original.
So I didn't watch WrestleMania 26 live when it happened, and I put off for 10 years watching that match because I was in denial that Shawn Michaels retired. And I finally watched it last year. I liked it. It was just I didn't want it to be real, but it was. Anyway, SmackDown is about to air. Thank you, Josh, for appearing on the show again. We will be back in our normal time slot Wednesday, 7 o'clock Eastern. And we will be back with more Greg Cherry Show Wrestling Trivia Challenge again next Thursday with Professor Nick Harrison and Nico Rigoli. Check both of those out. Like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff for this YouTube channel. Go follow Josh on Twitter. What is your Twitter handle again, Josh, for those who don't know?
At Catholic Josh 122.
And you can follow me at Greg Cherry Brand, all one word, no underscores, no any of that. And we thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy SmackDown, as Pat McAfee would say.
Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar's coming back, and enjoy Rampage as well, because that's on tonight. Enjoy all the wrestling that's happening this Friday night. We will see you again on Wednesday for more of the Greg Cherry Show. Have a good night, everybody.
#Cherry for Quizzlemania.